We're live. Good morning. Live on X, live on YouTube, live on Rumble. Waiting for this little red light to be clickable on Rockfin. Let me know if any of the audio sounds off or anything, because I won't know unless someone tells me. We're live on Rockfin now as well, and there has been some audio issues lately. Ian has helped me determine if there's been audio issues. So when I share videos and stuff, please let me know. Let's dive in. It's fight night. Place your bets. Stealing Georgia and an odd sexual scandal. Good morning, everyone. This is the Propaganda Report. I'm Brad Binkley. Feels like a fall morning. It's cool and crisp outside. Makes you feel like you're ready for action. And it just so happens that on this day, September 10th, 2024, that our presidential candidates, they're going to be getting a little bit of action. And that's obviously what the news media has been and will continue to be obsessed about yesterday and today, which is the big debate is finally here. The big debate. Everybody's just been waiting for that big debate. It's finally here, right? Who cares? Who cares about the big debate? There's just nothing else on. That's why I watch the news half the time. There's nothing else on. Everything else sucks. Every new TV show and movie is so painfully awful. It makes you just want to flip it back over to Rachel Maddow instead. And I think it's on purpose that they do that. I think modern film and TV is bad on purpose so that we have nothing else to watch but this obscene political entertainment propaganda that by virtue of everything else sucking has become the best show on TV. I try to find other things to watch. There's nothing else to watch. It's actually kind of brilliant. It keeps people, more people, politically engaged and divided, polarized than ever before, because not watching something before bed is no longer an option in modern society. We're programmed to tune into something, anything, and when there can be nothing to find that doesn't repulse us, we just flip it back over to an hour of CNN calling Trump racist, whatever. And that's been the whole idea of this for a long time, is to make the news media the most entertaining thing, the most entertaining drama on television. It's not like they made it good, they just made everything else bad. Seriously. It's like, what else? You have penis neck Rachel Maddow talking about Trump being a Russian puppet for 3 hours, sometimes hilariously, with the creativity. Or you could watch a new Netflix documentary about Will Ferrell and his trans best friend, who for some reason are going on a road trip together right after Ferrell, right after his buddy, came out of the closet as a trans to him. Those are your options. Most people are taking MSNBC, penis neck, Maddow, with those two options. What is that? That's a real Netflix documentary that I keep seeing show up. I don't follow Netflix on X, keeps being promoted, keeps popping up onto the Netflix app when you log in because they promote the shows and movies they want you to watch. It's called Will and Harper. Why are they going on a road trip together? This doesn't make any sense. Was this a road trip that was already planned and this guy just kind of sprung it on Will Ferrell? Like he showed up to Will's house with his luggage and was like, oh, hey, Will, before we travel cross country together. And then he pulls down his pants and reveals to Will Ferrell his brand new vagina where a penis used to be. Is this what this documentary is? Surprise, Will. You thought you were going to see a penis there. You jokester. You should see the look on your face now because I finally got you. And then the entire documentary, Will Ferrell is now faced with traveling across the country, having to share a hotel room, a bathroom, maybe even they have to share a bed at one point because they get to the hotel and the front desk person is like, we made a mistake and there's only a room available with one bed. And Will's like, oh, shoot. Now he's got to share a bed with his best friend in the world, who he gets along with better than anybody else, including his wife, who also now has a bangable vagina. Probably virgin vagina. His best friend, who he gels with more than anybody else, probably has a brand new virgin vagina, and he's going to be forced to sleep in the same bed with him and fight the temptation of reaching his hand down there and not cheating on his wife. That's actually a documentary I'd watch. That's not what this documentary is. Despite what the trailer of it, which I did watch on X, makes it look like Will is just surprised. Oh my gosh. You lopped it off? Holy cow. We're on a road trip now. This is obviously some cultural progressive propaganda under the guise of a documentary. Has any term lost its meaning more than documentary? I guess you had democracy, freedom, liberty. All of it just gets manipulated and used in convoluted ways. Documentary is supposed to give the illusion of being nonfiction. This is clearly not nonfiction. It's clearly progressive agenda propaganda that Will Ferrell was forced to do by whoever he's compromised by. And nobody wants to stream that. I'll take penis neck Rachel Maddow. I think most other people will as well. So, what's up, Podinger Stoner? Archer's good. I know some of the actors in Archer. They do improv in Atlanta. It's a funny show. Yeah, everything is so bad. It really is so bad. It's like on purpose bad because they put that progressive message in a lot of the shows. Not everything, but most things that they promote anyway do. There are some good things, but you have to search for them because they don't get promoted because they want us tuning in to the news. And the debate is tonight, getting back to what I was originally going to talk about. It's at 9 p.m. tonight, Eastern Standard Time on ABC News, and we will be doing, as we normally do, Political Science Theater 3000 mockumentary, I'm calling it, of this debate. 97% sure we'll be doing that. The only way that we won't be doing that is if I end up going to downtown Atlanta and infiltrating one of the big Democrat debate watch parties they're having as a white dude for Harris. If we can get that arranged, then I might do that, but I'm still going to try, if that happens, which is a slim chance, I will still try and stream the debate with whatever setup we have. It's very unlikely that's going to happen, but I'm trying to figure out how I might be able to make that work. I've learned over the past couple of weekends after LARPing as a white dude for Harris at Dragon Con, and then Ian and I infiltrated a Stop Project 2025 rally this past weekend wearing the white dude for Harris shirt. I've realized that shirt alone seems to get you access to things that you might not otherwise have gotten access to. And it really is amazing. Put that shirt on, you know, some places just kind of welcome you in with open arms. Now others, they don't look at you so kindly. They won't reject you, but they don't look at you so kindly. Plan on tonight at 8:50 p.m., us being here to do that live stream, if you don't see a tweet from me otherwise on X saying that there's a change of plans. So we'll have some fun with that tonight. And also, if you have not done it yet, go to my X page, Twitter page, Freedom Act Radio, at Freedom Act Radio, and watch and share if you like it. Don't if you don't like it. The latest video that I posted to the profile, which is pinned at the top of the profile, it's a video of what happened when I cosplayed as a white dude for Harris at Dragon Con. Not this past weekend, but the weekend before, with the help of Jake Green from Liberty Libations, who was filming me, did a great job. It was a whole lot of fun, and you can see how people reacted to it, which is very interesting. So please check that out. We love doing stuff like this, and been doing more and more of it, and we'll continue to do more of it if there's an interest in doing it, because it does take organizing. It's usually a two-person job. It's usually me and Jake, me and Zach, me and Ian, whoever's available and willing. Everybody's willing. It's a matter of coordinating our schedules and then the editing process and stuff. So we'll continue to do this. Need to just know that there's an interest in doing it and stuff. So check that out and share it. Also tried to share that video on Instagram, and they wouldn't let me share it because it was apparently a violation of the content policy. So sharing shows and stuff like that is the best way to help this show, as well as Patreon or anything on the Linktree link in my profile on X, or just letting the ads play through on the podcast app. So to give you a little taste of that, I hate doing that. I hate talking about stuff like promoting, but I have to do it. Will there be lemon pepper wings? Is there a remake of Trains, Planes? Probably. It wouldn't surprise me. Trains, Planes, and Lesmobiles. They probably have had that in the works for a while. Poe Deegan, Stoner, if I had to guess. They try and remake everything because they have no new ideas. They're like, let's remake this really good thing. Let's just make it trans, or let's make it of a different race. You just call it something different. Why you have to call it the same thing? I don't understand that. There's like 6 movie plots, generally. There's a book called Save the Cat, and it identifies basically broadly the 6 or so, some people argue more otherwise, storylines of every movie and the archetypes. Just name it differently than all the old movies we like. But a lot of movies are similar or the same anyway, whatever. So this is a clip to give you a taste of some of the man on the street stuff that we've been doing, and then we'll stop talking about it, is while I was at DragonCon, and this was interesting. The first person that we spoke with was actually, he claimed to be a United States government employee. And after speaking with him for a pretty good bit of time, I believe that he was, especially because of the panel that he said that he spoke at the night before. And he would not tell us on camera what his job specifically was, even though we do have audio of it. He told us off camera that what he does is he is an opinion shaper for the government. So he seemed to be at DragonCon to speak at this panel as a government opinion shaper. So this clip, and it's kind of a montage, supercut of me talking / mocking him, but it gives you an idea of what this government employee, who is an opinion shaper, what his beliefs are. And, I did that, and then I didn't even get the clip ready. All right. Oh, there it is. Hold on. Let me share this clip with you guys. He's a nice guy, don't get me wrong. But the fact that that was his job, to me, was a little bit, I guess it makes sense. You want people like this who will do stuff like this. But these are his perspectives, and he is having a little fun with me too, but you'll see. Here it is.
Full disclosure, I work within the United States government, so...
What do you do?
I work for the United States government.
Trump or Kamala?
Kamala. 100%.
What do you like about her?
Honestly, that she's not Donald Trump. Kamala is putting out a message more of unity.
They're not going back?
Yeah, I think it's not going back.
Not going back to Trump or what?
Not going back to Trump, not going back to, the 50s, in my opinion, right? Where...
Black and white. Everybody talks like this.
Yeah, everybody talks like this. Hey, guy,
come here. Let's get in the kitchen.
Get your wife in the kitchen.
Grab you by the pussy and put you in front of the oven.
Exactly. And I get people think the economy's bad.
Condoms for $50 at the grocery store. I run through those babies.
I got a vasectomy. So.
Did you get that at the DNC?
No. What I like about DragonCon, versus San Diego Comic-Con, is this place is super inclusive. My experience is different than yours and his and hers and everybody else is here, right?
Coach VP.
I like him. Just seems like a really personable guy, right? I saw a video of him going to get a mint chocolate chip shake, right?
Yeah, I love mint chocolate. If he gets vanilla, though, he's out.
Yeah, well, I like a vanilla malt, but not a vanilla shake. Yeah, that's
a gay shit. Yeah.
I don't know about gay, but there's nothing wrong with being gay.
Just being.
There's nothing wrong with being gay.
I didn't say anything wrong with it. I'm just saying.
But you said it like it was derogatory.
I know, but I don't like the vanilla.
You're like, I don't like vanilla. It's a little gay. So when you say you don't like it,
it's a lot gay.
See that's derogatory. You can't say that.
And what if I'm like, vanilla milkshake, super gay, but I love vanilla milkshakes?
I guess that's all right. Yeah, you got a good point. You can like chocolate, I can like vanilla, but
the bullshit.
We can have those differences.
Vanilla's gay.
And vanilla may be gay, but what about strawberry? How do you feel about strawberry?
It's a little trans.
It's a little trans, but still, you have to just find find where the middle ground is, right?
Yeah.
And understand that
it's a taint.
I like General Mattis.
You like General Flynn?
No. my opinion, I think he committed treason. I'm a free thinker, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that
Yeah.
that's really what we need more of in
Yeah.
America is education and free thinking. And
That's dangerous. It's
I mean,
racist.
it is. I mean, I don't think it's racist, but
It's
like,
a little racist.
I went to a pretty controversial panel last night. It was about it's about influence, like shaping public opinion in the Israel-Hamas conflict, right?
What's
Yeah.
that?
The Israel-Hamas conflict?
There's a controversy over that?
I mean, there is.
Are you an FBI agent?
No.
You're not in the CIA?
No.
Would you like a penis straw?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
These are called cocksuckers. Cocksucker for Kamala.
So yeah, he's a cocksucker for Kamala. He was a nice guy. He was fun to talk to. But he was a government opinion shaper who was at Dragon Con to talk on a panel about Israel and Hamas. And you heard what his opinions were, which was a laundry list of media propaganda programming that we hear many of our progressive friends and Rachel Maddow and CNN and all them saying all the time. This is one of the ways they shape the narrative, is anywhere where there are lots of people that are getting together. Online, obviously, is one way that they do it. The White Dudes for Harris. I mean, I later changed my shirt. In the other video, if you go watch it at Freedom Act Radio, I have on the White Dudes for Harris shirt. And at one point, I'm going to be honest with you, I put a ball gag in my mouth just to see how people responded. And they still responded favorably to me, those who liked Harris. But wherever people get together, they have someone or send someone to be a messenger of influence who is put in some sort of authority position. Now here, it wasn't an authority position, but you're sitting in a panel and you're on stage and you're one of a limited number, 3, maybe 4 people on stage, and maybe there's hundreds of people watching. They could have no idea who you are. And by virtue of just being one of the few people up there on stage, you are all of a sudden an authority figure to this crowd. And even Dragon Con, even whatever cons, wherever they have enough people, they're not going to hit your community church if there's 12 people. They might. They do hit churches. But this is the level of infiltration they try to go when it comes to opinion shaping and the opinion shapers. They're not all shadowy, fedora-wearing people with big trench coats behind closed doors. Maybe the ones who organize it are, but they send the people. Like, this guy's relatable to this group, isn't he? Look at him. He's good. He's fun conversationalist. And he's got his arm. He's got the sleeve tat. He's got the, he looks like somebody who'd be hanging out at Dragon Con. And that is what you do when you select a messenger to speak to certain crowds, to deliver certain messages. You don't send Stacey Abrams to come talk to them. Or maybe you do, actually. A lot of people there like Stacey Abrams. But you don't send J.D. Vance to go speak at Dragon Con to the audience because that doesn't look like him, unless he's completely changed his appearance. And this was the first guy that we happened to talk to. It's very interesting. And get rid of that. All right, moving on to the debate, which is tonight, as I mentioned. And, the whole story the past couple of days has been about the prep. It was about the rules the past, month. How many weeks can we talk about rules? You can really drag out these narratives they do. It's very impressive the way they drag out nothingness for so long. Let's see if we can talk about the rules of the debate for 6 weeks. We'll do panel discussions, and we'll consume people's minds with rules of the debate, and they did that. But what they've talked about the past couple days is the prep, and how even though Trump says he's not prepping, he calls everything else policy talk, but they're like, he is prepping. So they usually say Trump doesn't prep, but now they're saying Trump is prepping, even though he says he's not prepping, he's having policy talk. So it's like they want their audience, instead of thinking he's not prepared, they want them to think he is prepared, which is interesting, that choice. Why do they want them to think that as opposed to what they usually want them to think? I'm not sure. Because he seemed prepared against Biden. Maybe that has something to do with it. And maybe having the microphone off makes them look more prepared, they think. I don't know, but that's a definite switch in the narrative that they usually tell about Trump leading into debates. Usually it's he's flipping, he doesn't care. Now it's he doesn't say he's preparing, but he is preparing. He just calls it policy talk. Anytime they do something that differentiates from their narrative like that, to me it's noticeable. I don't always know the answer as to why, but the answer usually reveals itself. Now for Kamala, she's so prepared. She's been in Philly for a long time. She's got her person playing Trump, and he's getting in there, and he's giving her the insults. He's lunging at her. He's probably walking behind her and lurking her, maybe kicking her in her ass, calling her racial slurs, trying to jam his fist up her ass. Like everything that they want people to think Trump would do if the chains were off. Kamala's there preparing. But what Kamala has spent her time preparing, apparently, is she's been preparing, according to the news, she's been preparing for Trump's insults. That's what she spent all of her time preparing. And here, so you can see here with Jake Tapper, they talked about this for half the day. Like, how long can you talk about this stuff? It's ridiculous. So here's the headline here from this Jake Tapper segment on CNN. Harris departs for Philadelphia ahead of debate. Harris, her debate team, prepares for Trump's insults, or prepares for potential insults for Trump. So she could be preparing for policy, but she's preparing for a roast instead. She's preparing for clapbacks. And here's what Jake Tapper has to say about it.
Constitution Center. Today, two sources tell CNN that the Harris debate team has been preparing Harris for a range of potential insults and name-calling and derogatory comments from Trump, and a radio interview.
A range of potential insults. I've done a number of comedy roasts. I've hosted a number of comedy roasts. What this sounds like to me is, okay, Trump might call you this, that, and this. You are going to go up after him. Here is how you respond to this, that, and this. It sounds like she's preparing for a rebuttal at a comedy roast.
With the vice president released this morning gives some insight into her thinking.
He plays from this really old and tired playbook, right? Where there's no floor for him in terms of how low he will go.
So that right there, she'll say both those things. I guarantee you. She'll say, you're playing from an old, tired playbook. There's no floor for how those will be verbatim talking points, I bet.
And we should be prepared for that. We should be prepared for the fact that he is not burdened by telling the truth.
So she'll say that also, not burdened by telling the truth. Look out for that.
CNN's Jeff Zeleny is in Philly ahead of tomorrow's debate. Jeff, we're learning that Vice President Harris's debate prep included speaking to two other people who have faced Donald Trump on the debate stage before.
Jake, as we know, Donald Trump is heading into his 7th debate tomorrow. That's more than any other nominee. Of course, the two candidates he's debated in a general election are Hillary Clinton back in 2016 and Joe Biden in 2020.
So she's been getting advice from Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton.
Of course, in June, as you
That's what they
said.
say anyway.
And Vice President Harris has spent some time talking with both of those fellow Democrats, I'm told, talking about what it's like to be on stage with Donald Trump.
You think she's really spent time talking with Joe Biden about what it's like to be on stage with Trump? Is there any chance that she's said, I need to go to Joe and ask him his advice? What's up, everyman? I said there's a 0% chance that she has sought Joe's counsel for being on stage with Trump. I don't think she ever talks to Joe Biden.
The reality is she has never had a face-to-face encounter with him. One of the reasons for that, he did not attend the inauguration back in 2020 when she was being sworn in as vice president.
But what, did she attend his inauguration? So it's Trump's fault they haven't met face-to-face because he didn't go to Biden's inauguration. But she didn't go to his inauguration, I guess, if they haven't met face-to-face.
I am told, even though she's been speaking with Clinton and Biden, she is approaching this in her own way. This is not a redo of 2016.
Look at this guy. He's just such a video game character. Just the way he talks and I don't know how. I mean, they get paid well, I guess. I don't know how you would do the stuff they do otherwise.
I'm told that advisors are preparing her in a very different way. One specific example is not going after Donald Trump specifically on any misogynistic comments or racist.
Yeah, and any misogynistic comments. We saw what she did when Dana Bash, or Donna Bash, as Kamala called her, during that fake interview with her. And I guess it was a real interview, just there was no spontaneity to it. Asked her the question, very obviously scripted and looked like they had practiced it, question about Trump questioning her ethnicity or whatever, or race or whatever it was. She's going to respond the same way.
Comments we've seen throughout the course of her very brief campaign as the presidential nominee that she's been saying, that is a tired old playbook. She wants to move on.
That's what she's going to say. That's the point. So that's not. There's going to be nothing. There's going to be nothing unique from Kamala there. Like, the main thing against Kamala, even Democrats have said, is that she has lacked any real tough questions and she has lacked substance. And so naturally, with all the criticism about having no substance, when she has her biggest chance to show America that she does in fact have substance, she decides to spend all of her time prepping her clapbacks, which is what that go low, your tired old playbook stuff is. Instead of policy arguments, she's like, let's nail down the sassy black clapback girl. And here's the thing about that. Homegirl is going to use what she prepared for. So she's preparing all these responses to what maybe Trump will say. And if Trump doesn't say, let's say Trump doesn't say any of them, she's not going to throw all of her preparation out the window because she doesn't go off script. So she's going to still use what she prepared. So I used to do this thing with Indivisible, the activist organization that's all across the country. They send you out these phone call scripts and tell you to call your senator or whatever, and here's what you say to them. They give you every single script and they anticipate what the person you're talking to on the other line will say, which the person on the other line never says, because I've done this a number of times. I have old videos of me doing this on my YouTube page, youtube.com/Brad Binkley. And so what I would do is I would record myself calling said congressperson, and I would just read the script that Indivisible sent me verbatim, regardless of how the person on the phone spoke. And it never made any sense in the world to the person I was talking to. It sounded ridiculous. That's how Kamala would be in a debate if Trump doesn't prompt her with some of the talking points that her preparation has told her she's going to be prompted with. So it will sound ridiculous, and she's going to say the things anyway. Trump could say none of them. Trump could go up there and say, look, I think Kamala's done a great job as vice president. I think she's a beautiful person, a beautiful woman inside and out. She's got an infectious laugh, and sometimes, I'm going to be honest with you, I envy her hubby, Doug Emhoff, who let's be honest, is a model husband. A husband that I tell Melania every day, I aspire to be a hubby to you one day, like Dougie is to Kamala. I mean, relationship goals is what I tell her. I envy the guy, not just because of his obvious huge dick, but because he gets to wake up every morning to that joy. I believe I'm the right guy for president because I'll fight for this country, if for nothing else, to fight to protect the ideal of an American family that my opponent's family represents. Being president puts that in jeopardy, and I would like to sacrifice myself to protect Kamala and her ideals. That's why you should vote Trump. He could say that, and Kamala, in response to the moderator being like, okay, Ms. Vice President, would you like to respond? She'd be like, I know Donald Trump's type. I know his type. He's a convicted felon. He used the same old tired playbook. I know. Like, she would say the same thing. It doesn't matter what he says. She doesn't go off script. Everything's memorized, which makes her very predictable. And Trump, if we take this all at face value, he would be wise to throw her a curveball and not give her those prompts which her writers are preparing her to respond to. In context, anyway, because then nothing she would say would make sense, which could end up being very, very funny either way, because she would be forced to go off script, which is always kind of funny, or she'd have to say the ridiculous things out of context like we were just talking about. It's a win-win for all of us. However, there is a wrinkle to that plan, though, because this might not actually be possible for Trump to throw her like that. I can't see the comments here. Hold on one second here. Yeah, exactly. She tries to use feminine privilege to win her point. She's going to do that the whole time. I'd like to see her throw a tampon at Trump, obviously, like one of Tim's tampons. I'd like to see her pull a tampon out of Coach Tim, and throw it over at Trump. And the crowd, she'd get a standing ovation. All right. Okay, I can see everything now. So the reason that Trump might not be able to throw Kamala a curveball like that, knowing that Kamala is going to use her prepared lines, and that's like the key thing I'm trying to hit home here, is Kamala is not preparing to be spontaneous. Kamala is preparing to respond with scripted talking points at the right times that they make sense to what Trump says or what we think Trump says. And this is where that wrinkle in the whole muted microphone rule comes in that I was talking about last week. The mics are supposed to be muted when the candidate is not speaking, when it's not their turn to speak, as we know. But as CNN reported last week, ABC News apparently assured the Harris campaign. Why didn't ABC News report it? Why did CNN have to report this? It's also stupid. But apparently they assured the Harris campaign after they expressed disagreement and concern about Trump's mic being muted because they wanted to show Kamala being a litigator and, fighting back against his lies. They assured them that if Trump is trying to interrupt Queen Kamala while his mic is muted, that what they'll do is they've reserved the right to either turn Trump's mic on or have one of the moderators who will be able to hear what we cannot hear as an audience. Have one of them explain to viewers what happened when Trump was trying to interrupt and talk while Kamala is talking. They have reserved the right to mansplain, kind of, not mansplain. It's like a moderator explanation. And so we could see a legit situation where we hear Trump saying absolutely nothing. Maybe we see him say nothing because the video is on Kamala because they do the split screen. And then all of a sudden, one of the moderators starts doing the modsplaining, telling us what Trump said when we couldn't hear anything, and say that he's just interrupting Kamala, and then tell us all the rude things that he said. And then that gives the prompts. So they give the prompts for the moderators, and Kamala responds to what the moderators say that Trump said when the mic was muted. That's ridiculous. It's also not out of the realm of possibility. Because you have to remember that one of the moderators for this debate is just like Kamala is she is a member of the Divine Nine. Lindsay Davis, a member of the Divine Nine, just like Kamala, which is the Black Freemasons. And the mainstream media has been openly talking about, especially since Kamala became the candidate, how they will do anything to get Kamala in office. Kamala will be the first Divine Nine member ever elected to office. You can actually read that on her Wikipedia page. And so you have a moderator who is in that club with her. So it's not at all unreasonable to say that she has a strong ally on the moderator's side. It's unreasonable, actually, to say otherwise. I mean, isn't that kind of crazy? Yeah, she's going to be totally unbiased. A prediction Here's a prediction from CNN for what will happen. This is an interesting prediction. CNN says here, they say, a stunning contrast will be visible on tonight's debate stage. How can they be stunned by something they're predicting? Doesn't something have to be unexpected to cause you to be stunned? But CNN is predicting that it will be stunned by the contrast. Now, I think the contrast is not going to be stunning because it's going to be apparent because it's a planned contrast. That's exactly what both candidates are debating to do to show a contrast to America. So it won't be stunning. It's stupid. Their language, they wear out words. I guess that makes sense that happens as history goes on and mass communications brings us all together and we hear the same words over and over again, that they lose their meaning. And they're going to have to create new words or transform the meaning of certain words. Headlines have just completely lost any meaning with the sensationalism that there's never just a even keel headline. There's never a interesting debate might happen, but there could be a few unexpected moments. Nothing like that is going to, everything is fighting its attention economy or whatever they call it. That's also a stupid word. I hate all these words. Get rid of that. I don't want to see that anymore. So here's what I predict. Kamala is going to be portrayed as the victim. I do think there will be some explaining of what happened by the moderators. And if they do that, I actually think it would be funny. I doubt it would go this far, but it would be funny if they came back from a commercial break and they're like, while Kamala was trying to talk before you, like maybe Kamala fumbles over something and she looks like an idiot and they need a reason to explain that away. They come back and the moderator says, Trump was screaming at Kamala from behind her microphone, yelling racial slurs at her and threatening her. And then they just go to say a bunch of things that Trump said. And then Trump wants to say, I didn't say any of those things. But then they just go immediately back to Kamala and they do a single frame so you can't see Trump because nobody's going to be in the debate hall except the people they bring. There's going to be no audience there. So we'll have no idea if Trump's like, I have no idea. And then the next time they go, or maybe they do it like at the end of the debate so he never has a chance to really do a rebuttal. Or if he tries to say something, all right, Mr. President, your response to this question, he's like, I didn't say, they immediately cut it off again. I actually think it would be funny if they got that brazen about it. We'll see. They were pretty brazen about how they handled Biden last time. I'm going to predict the high road comments from Kamala. Everything she just said, I predict. But here's what's kind of interesting. What's up, Arizona? You think they're going to use Haitian sign language interpreters? What's the story about Haitians lately? They're eating people's animal pets or something. Was that what people were saying? It's not true, they say. I just saw that pop up earlier. How is it in Arizona? Is it still scorching hot, TT? You can bet on what Trump or Kamala will say in the debate. This isn't predictit.org that I usually share. There is apparently a website. There is a website. So I looked at it. It's called polymarket.com, I believe. Make sure. Yeah, polymarket.com, which kind of sounds like, a dating site for polyamorous people, but it's not. It's a crypto betting platform. And there's been like $2 million worth of bets put on words that Kamala and Trump will say in the debate. A couple of the bets are, as of last night, bettors are predicting that there's an 89% chance that Trump will say the word Israel. Just 89%? I mean, that's easy money. Who's betting against that? Are there people betting against that? The 11% of people who are like, I don't like money. Let me throw that away. Of course he's going to say Israel. There's a 91% chance, according to the bettors, that Harris is going to say abortion. Again, 91%. Who are the 9% of people saying, you know what, I think Kamala's going to stay away from Roe v. Wade? I don't think she's aborting the abortion topic. I don't think so. That's their biggest topic. I've talked to people on the ground. I pretended to be one of them. Abortion's one of the first things they all bring up every single time. They're definitely going to hear the word abortion. Here, look. We know what they're going to say. This is like weird, too. With Kamala being so scripted, the people who write her scripts, who know she never goes off script, can just take all of their money and go to this crypto site and just make out, like make a killing, you know, betting on what they know she's going to say. There's a reason to become a script writer right there. So you can gamble on what words will be said during a debate. Look at this. Let me show you what they're saying. It's so stupid. People will bet on anything. It's like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, I wonder if Michael Jordan, I don't know if he pays attention to politics. He acts like he doesn't, but that dude would bet on anything. And I think that's what everybody's like now. Not everybody, but. All right, so here's the list that they have here. USA Today. These are the words that and the likelihood that Trump will say them according to the betting site. Israel, 89% that Trump will say it. 89% that he'll say China 3 times. China, China, China. I don't know. It's a 90-minute debate. That one I think will be close. Abortion, he'll probably say abortion. Borders are, maybe. I don't know that he'll say borders are. He might. That seems like one that he would say, but then also, I don't know that he needs to say that. Fake news, I don't think he's going to say fake news. I don't think he's going to say Marxist. I wouldn't bet on either of those. The words they say Kamala are going to say that they're the betters. Oh, here's some more, actually. They say, all right, there's a 67% likelihood, according to the betters, that Trump will say border 15 times. I'm going to vote against that one. It's 90 during the day in Arizona and 50 right now. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, it's like 60 right now here in Georgia. What do you guys think? Do you think Trump is going to say border 15 times? 67% of the bettors on this site say he will. I say he won't. Comrade Kamala, 44%. I don't think he's going to say that. I don't think he's going to say that stuff. This isn't a rally. He's not going to say that. Fraud. He might say fraud. Drill, baby, drill. This isn't a rally. He's not saying people are losing their money here. He's not saying drill, baby, drill. Tampon. Maybe he says tampon. That's a 29% likelihood the better say he says that. If I were going to bet on a wild card, I would bet on tampon. Elon Musk. I don't think he's going to say Elon Musk. 35% of bettors say he's going to say that, or the likelihood. 30% likelihood that he says MAGA 3 or more times. I bet he doesn't. I bet he doesn't say MAGA at all. They say there's a 19% likelihood he'll say alien 5+ times. Nope. And apparently, some of the bettors are betting at 20. Up to 20% of likelihood that he's going to say McDonald's. He's not going to say McDonald's. He's not going to say McDonald's. Unless somebody throws a bag of McDonald's at his face, he goes, "What was that? Oh, it was McDonald's." He's not saying McDonald's. Crypto and Bitcoin. According to the betting, there's a 14% chance he says crypto or Bitcoin, which Bitcoin people don't like when you pair those together, by the way. But I would bet on that one. That's the one I'd bet on. I bet he does say that. Maybe. Actually, I don't know. It's not a rally. They're not going to bring it up. The moderators won't bring it up. He won't say it. There's no reason for him to. Epstein, not going to say Epstein. Yeah, those are bad bets. The easy bet is Israel. Now for Kamala, they say 91% chance she'll say abortion. Of course she will. 86% chance she'll say democracy. Of course she will. 85% chance she'll say Project 2025. Of course she will. I mean, these are all safe bets. You're not going to make a ton of money, but these are all safe bets. Inflation, 84%. Every band says 33% chance Trump says bitch. That would be fantastic if he said that. I would love it if he said that. 78% chance she says Palestine or Palestinian. 72% chance she says border 5 times. I love this one. And I think she will say this one. This is actually another good money bet, in my opinion. 64% chance that Kamala will say not going back. I infiltrated a Kamala Stop Project 2025 rally this past weekend, and the chant that they chanted the entire time was, "We're not going back." The signs that they held up at this busy intersection for the entire time we were there, which was 2 hours, they all said, "We're not going back." I wonder how close it has to be. So I guess not going back. So she's going to say that, or a variation of it. Variation maybe doesn't get it though. Convicted felon, she'll definitely say that. 59%. Liar, she'll definitely say that. Trump will say that too, probably. J.D. Vance, I don't think she'll say that. Artificial intelligence, I don't think she'll say that. Wall, 20. She'll probably say wall. No, she won't say wall. Never mind. Unrealized. So people talking about unrealized gains, taxing them. Trump might say that. Kamala, I don't think she will. Weird. There's only a 22% chance they say that Kamala's going to say weird. I bet she says weird. That's where the good money is. And then you have a 19% chance that Kamala says, I'm speaking, Mr. President. She wants to say that. I don't know that she will, but she wants to. And then McDonald's, why would she say McDonald's? DEI, crypto? No, that's not happening. Some interesting bets, though. Here's the actual site if you guys want to check it out. Man, can you imagine just watching this gambling all day? You really got to be hooked on betting, like that episode of Seinfeld where Kramer's sitting at the airport betting on when the flights are coming in. Yeah, I've never seen this site before until today. You can bet on a lot of stuff. You can bet on, obviously, the winner. You can bet on the Fed interest rates in September. Here's what will Trump say in the debate. I don't know. Maybe it's changed now. Let's see if it's changed at all. Borders are fake news. It's not going to say fake news. Comrade Kamala. Yeah, it's polymarket.com. What will Kamala say? Abortion. Definitely going to say that. Trump and Harris shake hands at the first debate. You can bet on that. I say no. What do you guys think? She'll say liar and secure the border, says TT. I agree. You think they'll shake hands? You know, I think that Kamala will try to shake hands. So if I'm advising Kamala for optics, the whole purpose is to make Kamala look like she is taking the high road. So it's the first time they've ever met. So I say, look, you need to make it look like, from an audience perspective, like you are going to try and shake hands with Donald. That way, if Donald does what he's done in the past and goes right to his podium, you stand there and you kind of linger. So it's awkward. So it looks like he's going low and you're going high. I say Kamala tries to shake hands. Trump, if he's smart, he does too. But Kamala's hoping that he doesn't. Harris has been dry for 3 days. That's what Doug Emhoff said, right? All right, let's see here. There's a lot of, I'm going to check this site out later. Polymarket.com. All right. So sticking with elections, I've talked a lot about the ongoing effort of the establishment to set the stage for stealing the election in Georgia, especially, if that's what they choose to do, with much of that effort being focused here in Georgia on smearing the Georgia State Elections Board members and the rules, or at least the members who pass the rules that are pro-voter integrity, which make it harder for the establishment to steal it, because it would allow them to not certify it even if they suspected that there was issues, which apparently is like a really shocking thing. It's not a shocking thing at all. And the media has smeared these pro-election integrity board members and tried to have them thrown off. There's been a lawsuit. They've asked the governor here to try and throw these people off of the board. It's crazy. We talked to Garland Favorito, a voter GA, a number of times. A couple weeks ago, we talked to him. He was telling us about this, and he works closely with many of these people. I encourage you to go back and listen to that show, and that's why I'm telling you about this now, because Garland Favorito, a voter GA, he is at voter GA on X. He did a press conference yesterday for the purpose of cutting through, according to his press release, the theater and present the actual Georgia statutory law to address the controversy around the Georgia Elections Board and show that despite what the media says, that what the Elections Board is doing, the law that they put in, or the rule that they voted in favor of, is not only very legal, it's actually their duty under the statutory law. And they didn't even need the rule that was passed because it was already their duty. And there's a couple more rules that are being presented on September 20th. One of them is Garland's rule. Now, Garland talked about a lot of this on the show, and I'm sure he goes through that and what's upcoming in this press conference. So I encourage you to watch that and share it. He and these board members need to get exposure as much as possible. And they're not going to get anything real or positive from the mainstream media. The mainstream media just lies about them. They never cover the actual stuff that Garland shows, which none of them can defeat Garland's arguments. They never can, ever, because he always mentions statutory law. He always has his sources. And everybody who tries to smear him in the media, I cut together a montage of clips the other day. It's kind of wait until I brought him back on to show it. All they do is lie, and they never cite statutory law. He always does. He always does. And the Democrats have already organized, because I found their group online. I sent it to them. They've already organized to go flood the September 20th Georgia State Elections Board meeting with their activists to get media clip. They're going to shout people down. They're going to use up the public comment space to smear the board members and to smear the presented rules. And the voter integrity movement does not have the firepower and the resources that the mainstream media and all these activists do. The Garland's done an amazing job. But the exposure, while it has been great, it needs to be more. So I encourage you to go watch that. I encourage you to share it. I will have him on again. I personally will be at the September 20th Georgia Elections Board meeting in Atlanta, Georgia at the Golden Dome. That will be the main subject of the mainstream media prior to and afterwards for probably a week or so, because this is where the attempt to steal the election by the establishment is happening. It is right there. It is in Georgia. And they are coming hard after this group, so they need support. And so I know, so the best ways to support them is to share all that stuff. And if you learn about the rules, Garland's going to post them online. I don't know if he's posted them yet. He did talk about it on that show. Learn about them. I know I'm going to go try and get a public comment spot. You get 2 minutes to speak. Another part of this campaign to steal the election by the establishment is this fabrication of joy and enthusiasm around Kamala, this groundswell of enthusiasm, which is not real, not in Georgia anyway. I've been on the ground in Georgia. I've been to many rallies, not just in Georgia, in Washington, D.C., and Tennessee. I've gone to many of these events. It's just not real. And one of the reasons, other than what you see firsthand, and I've talked about this a lot, is that they never tell you when specifically and where Kamala is going to actually be appearing for any of her events. How can you have a groundswell of enthusiasm when you don't tell the public where you're going to be so they can be there and support you? It doesn't make any sense. And Kamala is not going to be here this week. However, she has a campaign surrogate. Tim Walz's wife is going to be here campaigning on behalf of Kamala. And so I was curious if they are doing the same thing with Tim Walz's wife as they do with Kamala, which is keeping her date and time a tightly held secret that only the people who... Here's what they do with Kamala's events. And I confirmed this in Georgia, and I've seen other confirmations of it in other states. They pack the buses full of friendly journalists who they vetted, who they know, like the AJC people, will say, they'll give them the talking points and they'll say them. And they pack them full of the local Democrats who will do the same thing. And they bus all of these people around and they fill whatever space they go to with all of these people that they brought with them, along with people who donated enough money for the purpose of winning like a lottery to take a picture with Kamala and Tim. They will fly them out there. I got an email being promised to being flown out to wherever her next event was to have my picture taken with Kamala and Tim if I donated a certain amount of money. Of course, only the people who donate and also are properly vetted and are controlled get selected. I'll show you the email. I've talked about this before. But these emails come all the time. This is every single picture you see of Kamala talking to people. Is this. It's not a naturally occurring thing. None of it is. You say what you will about Trump, and he does a lot of PR stunts too, but he does respond to some actual people, sometimes at least. Here's the email. You can see it there. Harris Walls. I have so many of these. And it's weird. So you get the text also. I get these texts too. And then they send the same thing. They send a text and email. And they make this email look like it's a text chain. It's just strange. It says, "Hi, Brad. It's Kamala." And then it has Kamala's name written underneath it. And then on the other side, it says, "And Tim." Like this is a text group. Like this is a throuple. We have a text throuple with Kamala and Tim. And then Kamala says, "If you're up for it, we'd love to meet you and snap a picture." And then Tim says, "Like this one," and it shows a picture of Tim and his wife and Kamala and gay Doug Emhoff at a rally. Just it's always a selfie picture. It's always a selfie picture. Who would go, "Yeah, I want to be in a picture like that"? You have to be twisted. You have to be somebody who would show up to a cross-country road trip with your best buddy Will Ferrell and pull your pants down and say, "Look at my new vagina." And then Kamala says, "Exactly, Tim. Supporters like you are what keeps us going. This is why." And then Tim says, "If you chip in a few bucks today, you could get your very own selfie with Kamala and me." Oh, great. Not only that, Kamala says, "but your donation will ensure we have the resources Tim and I need at this crucial stage of the race." And then Tim says, "It's a win-win. So what do you say, Brad?" I say no. That's what I say, obviously. Those are the only people that aren't friendly journalists or Democrat politicians that are at Kamala's rallies and events. Every time. Everyone there is vetted. Everyone there is handpicked. There is no groundswell of enthusiasm. It is a lie. The most enthusiasm I've seen for Kamala was at the event that Ian and I infiltrated as white dudes for Harris, as white gay dudes for Harris. Still working on the clips of those. Where the Democrat Party of Fulton County organized and it was a very concerted effort to get people who liked Kamala in the same place at the same time to go stand at a busy intersection. There was maybe 30 people there, probably not that many. And about an hour into it, nobody was enthusiastic, and the guy with the bullhorn was saying, "Come on, we need to look more enthusiastic for at least another 30 minutes. We know it's hot outside." I mean, they were trying to pull enthusiasm out of these people. It was so fabricated. And do they do the same thing when Kamala's people come in? And the answer is yes, they do. So I would love to go see a Kamala rally or talk to people, but I can't ever find out when it is. And I also would be interested in going to see when Gwen Walz, as you see here in the AJC, Gwen Walz to campaign this week in Georgia. Now, my question, as I just expressed, is when and where? I want to find out. Well, where does it show it here? Gwen Walz, her visit will be part of a 4-day tour through battleground states that begins Thursday and ends Sunday. The timing of her stop at Georgia has not yet been finalized. What a shock. What a shock. And then you go over here. And this one is from earlier today. So this one is more recent. Maybe they finalized it. We're just 2 days before she is supposedly going to be here talking. And you learn here that this is going to be called the New Way Forward Tour. It says it will be the Minnesota First Lady Gwen Walz's first visit to the Peach State, Georgia. Her appearance is part of the New Way Forward Tour announced by the Harris campaign over the weekend. At this time, details of the visit are unknown. They're unknown. They're unknown. How do you announce a tour, have the local media that's in your pocket advertise it, but then not tell anybody where specifically and what time? And yet there's a groundswell of enthusiasm. How can anybody come see you and be enthusiastic if you don't tell anyone when and where? Because it's a lie. In contrast, hey, guess what? We're going to be coming to see you guys. Come and see us, everybody. Show us your support. When? We can't tell you that. It's a crock. In contrast, J.D. Vance, I'm not a fan of J.D. Vance. That's beside the point. J.D. Vance will also be visiting Georgia next Monday. In fact, next Monday, September 16th, he will be speaking at the Georgia Faith and Freedom Coalition's dinner at the, at the Cobb Galleria Center at 6 p.m. There you go. You see it right there. The Victory Dinner, Monday, September 16, 2024, 6 p.m., Cobb Galleria. You know exactly when, where, you know an address, you know a time, you know a day. You can go protest J.D. Vance outside of the Cobb Galleria Center if you want. You can try and get tickets if they haven't sold out if you want. Very different from the way they handle Kamala. In fact, you can go to the page of this group he's speaking with, which I did, and you can see right here how to get a press pass. This event is open to press. Media interested in attending must email, and it gives the email address, media@ffcoalition.com to register for credentials. I've tried to get credentials for every Kamala event, regardless of who has gone to it. Stacey Abrams events, others here in Georgia. None of them. You can't get credentials at all unless you're already in their pocket. There is no groundswell of enthusiasm. It is a lie. Every man says just right for Georgia, a Minnesota man who beats her husband. It wouldn't surprise me. You know, her husband's actually, or not her husband, excuse me. His wife, she ain't bad looking. You know, he's gay. I think he's also gay. I think him and Dougie might be, you know, bumping the old Peters there. But every man says make Stacey Abrams drop her baconators. Kamala's a pussy. Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's funny. All right, so I'm going to do one more and get out of here. Oh, by the way, you know, there's a story about Biden from the New York Post about how he's spent 532 days of his 1362 or 1326 in office on vacation. It's 40% of his presidency. Trump spent 26 of his presidency on personal trips. And I get that you can call them working vacations. I totally understand that you can work somewhere else better. And it's not like they don't have their staff and you can't get in touch with them. But Biden is always laying on the beach like he's filming a rebooted version of Weekend at Bernie's. Don't put the pictures up. Don't put the pictures up of him looking like he's a corpse on a beach. Apparently, Ronald Reagan and Barack Obama only spent 11% of their 2 terms on vacation, and Jimmy Carter only had 1 term in office, but man, did he use his time working, because he spent just 5% of his time on vacation. How many days was it? Just 79 vacation days for old Jimmy Carter, who we're constantly being told is fighting to live just so he can vote for Kamala Harris. That's actually been reported. He's going to vote for Kamala Harris and then say, and go see his wife. This is so stupid that they report these things. Which I hope Jimmy Carter gets the good medicine and he can live to be 200. That's fine. But just don't tell us that he's in hospice trying to survive just so he can cast his vote. Give me a break. It's my favorite story today. A little bit of a sex scandal. Good old sex scandal. All right. The former chief of staff of a California state senator, the senator's name is Maria Alvarado Gil. There's a picture of her right here. She's being accused by her former chief of staff in a lawsuit of forcing him to perform sexual favors on her as part of a quid pro quo relationship. Sexual favors that he performed while they traveled together for work. Now, this staffer, whose name is Chad Condit, is his name. Chad Condit. And who's married, this married staffer claims that he performed the sexual acts on his boss for years as part of a sex-based quid pro quo relationship in order to keep his job. Honey, I promise, it wasn't cheating. I would have lost my job. She made me do it. We wouldn't have any money to feed the kids, to put food on the table, to get shoes for them. We'd be out on the streets if I wasn't eating my boss's box. You believe me, right, honey? You know it's true. Look, I filed a lawsuit against her. She said she'd stick a knife in me if I didn't stick a dick in her. She put a gun to my head, said she'd blow my brains out if I didn't screw out hers. Believe me, honey. I'm not saying this guy's lying. I'm just saying that a dude desperate enough to convince his wife that he was forced to bucket bomb his boss would file a lawsuit making these claims. The allegations get even better, as this dude claims that on their final encounter, sexual encounter, that he suffered a debilitating back injury while having to twist and contort to perform oral sex on his boss in the car, an act which left him with 3 herniated discs and a collapsed hip. No word on whether or not it was roadhead. I don't know if the car was moving. I don't know how big the car was, how much space there was, what kind of oral sex he was performing, or if there were any other contributing factors to what he says, or herniated disc and a collapsed hip. I don't know if there's medical evidence of this. But here's the kicker. The guy claims that after this horrible oral sex injury occurred, he was using that as an excuse. I can't do it. I mean, using it as an excuse. If you have a herniated disc, 3 of them, and your hip is collapsed, what is he, crawling across the room? And she's like, I don't care, Gimpy. Get your mouth in my pussy. He's like, I can't do it. I'm crippled. This is, you don't have these kind of injuries and still get the box eating demands. He says that he was using this as an excuse, his back injury, which makes me think that it's a little bit made up. It's like, oh, no, my back, I can't do it. To reject her sexual advances in August of last year, but that she allegedly got very pissed off about this because he said no to her. And so, according to the complaint, she retaliated against him by turning around and then accusing him of inappropriate behavior. You inappropriately didn't eat me out, I guess is his claim. She then fired him, which he says is because he was no longer down to pound. She disputes those claims. This was a sex-based quid pro quo relationship of unwelcome advances and sexual behaviors coupled with punishment and flexing of power, the suit alleged. What a cuck pussy. What a weak dude. What dude, who would even admit to this if this happened to this guy? She made me do it. I had no other option. I couldn't get another job. Nobody else would hire me except her. And I'm so good at eating pussy in the car. Go be a prostitute then. Another interesting fact about this story is that this state senator was a Democrat. So was this other guy accusing her. Until recently, when she announced, I think within the past week, which this lawsuit story also came out around the same time, she announced she was leaving the Democrat Party to join the Republican Party, and she said on X, I believe, she said, quote, she was leaving the Democrat Party to join the Republicans to, quote, make America great again. So what do we believe here? Is this a sexual predator, female senator who decided, let me go join the other predators in MAGA, as the Democrats might claim? Or is this someone who's being wrongly accused by Democrats? And then saying, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm going to go join MAGA with what many MAGA would say are other wrongly accused people. Or is there another explanation? Perhaps this woman, let's get another look at her again. Let's get a look at her. I mean, she looks like she, she's not raping anybody, okay? But she looks like she doesn't have a problem asking for the D if she wants it. But that doesn't make her guilty of a crime. Perhaps the other explanation could be that this chief of staff and this woman, this senator, were two consenting adults who were having an affair for years until this woman decided to end it. I'm kind of imagining this guy liking to be dominated. And she said, you know what? I'm done with this domination stuff. I'm going to go see if I can get like a real thing going on. Maybe she's married. I have no idea. But she decided to end the relationship is what I speculate. And this is speculation. But when she did it, it was one of those situations where it's like, we're not doing this anymore. You can keep working for me. Just don't make it weird. Okay? We got boundaries now. And that he was not okay with those boundaries because, man, did he like eating that pee. And so he started to get weird at work, and he started to do some inappropriate things to try and come back to me, baby. And then she said, look, you got to stop making this weird. And he kept making it weird. And so she said, it's it. You're being inappropriate. Here's a letter. You did these weird things. Everybody saw it. You're fired. And so word probably got out to his wife also. You lost your job, honey. Why'd you lose your job? Well, my boss said that I was doing inappropriate things to her. Sexually, saying inappropriate things. And so she fired me. Now I have no income for our family. And yeah. But here's the truth, honey. She was making me do all these sexual things. And then he files a lawsuit to save all of that and try and get, I bet that's what happened. That's my guess. They were banging. She cut it off. And he needed a reason. And he's trying to score some money out of it. Because why not screw financially, attempt to, your now Republican boss if you're a Democrat? That's like the most sexually gratifying thing ever in the world, probably. Suing a Republican and being financially rewarded for it. I mean, we all saw E. Jean Carroll and how excited she was. Check out the comments and we'll get out of here. Good morning, Quantum Healer. Either pussy juice. Okay, I can't read. That's funny. Oh. Probably a Kia. Yeah, so what's the car size there? Workers' compensation, boss lady. She does look like a boss lady. Yeah, I think they were definitely having sex. Could be a new Pornhub category. Democrat, Republican. But it's a female Republican and a male Democrat, so it's just nothing but pegging videos, which is disgusting. And my friend just texted me, what does LARPing mean? As he saw my video. Live action role playing, obviously. Although he's not watching right now. Probably pegging with his Republican boss. She is DTF and a couple of Applebee's margaritas have. Yeah, absolutely. Angela White. Who's Angela White? All right. I think that's it. I believe that's all it is. All right. Most likely going to be back here at 8:50 tonight. So I just saw this headline that popped up. Disgraced teacher, Tennessee middle school teacher who filmed students in the locker room whimpers in court after hearing, God, these people are so like, we don't need to hear every weird story in the world, do we? Thank you, Everyman. Thanks for participating. Oh, a porn star. Yeah. Are you saying she looks like a porn star named Angela White? Maybe that's what the guy liked. Maybe that's what he liked about it. Maybe he looks like Johnny Sin, you say? Okay. Well, we've gotten our porn fill for the morning. And on that, thank you guys again. It was fun. I enjoyed hanging out with you guys. We will do it later this evening. Talk to you guys next time. Have a fantastic rest of your day.